from the podcast, Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk. It's Grant's Rants Small Talk. Real Housewives of New York City Rundown.
Let the ranting begin. I'm joined by Chris Chianesi, calling out of New York, just to talk about New York Housewives, of course. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, Grant. Thanks for having me.
Chris is a New York super fan, for those wondering, so he's qualified to talk about this episode. Tell me about your thoughts on the season so far.
Well, these ladies are delivering as always. They really started in a very big way, and it's just continuing to build with, so many good moments. Like, so many good moments. I sit and watch each episode and thinking like, we'll get a good catchphrase out of this. Well, no, there's literally like multiple moments that are happening each episode that are so memorable and hilarious and just so, they just feed my soul. This season is feeding my soul.
This episode was what I was looking for. I've said on the rundown in the past, I would need a little bit more of the lifestyle. I need to know exactly what's going on in their lives in New York. Other than just kind of like fighting and stuff. And this episode, other than a few things which we'll get into with Dorinda, for the most part, it was about these women's lifestyles, their businesses, whatever level they're on, for all intents and purposes. But it was really, it was nice to see New York. It was nice to see Fashion Week. It was just nice to see what these women do other than sit and eat and drink.
Oh, the magic between the women.
So let's get into it. It's season 12, episode 5, Not So Model Behavior. Garrow Sparrow? Garrow Sparrow, is that his real name?
I think it is. And I thought he sounded familiar. I remember him from Project Runway this past year.
It's a catchy name. Now, I don't know if it's our Rhode Island or / Cranston accent, because I'm saying it like nasally. Garrow Sparrow. Is that correct?
Yeah. How would our family say it? Like Gow Spow? Pronounce the R's.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, it's catchy. I remember the name.
Yeah.
Tinsley is closing out his show. In case you didn't know, she was wearing a crown.
In case you didn't see the huge metal piece on her head.
Yeah.
If you were distracted by her sneakers.
And of course, Dale, always there to recount for times long gone, times gone by. Oh, this hasn't happened in over 10 years. Thank you, Dale, for remembering that Tinsley once again is still failing her way up.
Yep. Poor Tins.
What else happened here? There was the Countess. We had to get a brief break of her. She's having a new show, which to me is like the same thing, but with like a twist, just to sell more tickets. She's calling it Marry F Kill. Still not enough for me to see for it a third time. Still not enough.
Well, I wonder what's going to be different about it, or if it's just the title's going to be the only thing that's different.
I think, maybe there'll be like a new segment. I mean, it's still not enough. Not enough for me. I'm over the cabaret. I know you had the pleasure of seeing it, correct?
Oh, I sure did. I was blackout drunk.
Well, then you came prepared. You did the right thing. I did the wrong thing because I was cheap and I wanted to buy only one drink because it was like $18.
Well, yeah, because you saw it in LA, right? You didn't
saw it in LA twice. Yeah, that was enough. So I
saw it. I saw it at 54 Below, and me and everyone I was with, we just were living our lives at it.
Let's talk about Ramona. I always give a little bit of a social climbing report. She claims in this episode that everybody has to go to Fashion Week or they'll be ostracized. So this is very important that she goes to this. What else?
Lord.
She also had to take those. Did you see that awkward moment where she had to take those pictures with that designer?
Oh my God! Yeah, where she forced her out of the frame.
Yeah. I couldn't get over that.
So on brand.
Yeah. What else is it? She she was like, well, when you're placed in a front seat, you show up. That was another lesson we learned in etiquette because, she was upset that Leah didn't respect the fact that she had a front row seat. I mean, I've not been to Fashion Week. I don't know if this is where this stands in the stature of the main shows. I mean, it looked all right to me. I don't know if it was like, the equivalent of New York royalty or anything, but I
Right.
mean, do you have any insight
Yeah,
on
I'm
New
not
York
sure.
Fashion Week?
I, I've never been to any of the shows live, but I do remember this past year, walking by what looked like a secret fashion show because it was during
Ooh.
Fashion Week. And because I live on the Lower East Side, as you know, and so I was walking on the street and I saw like, how they have those grates that pull down in front of storefronts to lock up at night and
Hmm.
all that. There was one that was like a grate that was not fully shut. And so but it was like this crappy storefront. And I looked underneath, and there's a whole freaking fashion show going on inside that building, like lights, loud music. There's people outside smoking, looking very fashionable. And yeah,
Wow.
it was neat. But that's like the only experience I've had with Fashion
Yeah,
Week.
I wish I had a little something more to say about it because we'll get into Sonia's show. I don't know what the norm is. I've seen only videos and pictures, so I just don't know exactly like where this rates and especially where Sonia's rates. We'll get there. Speaking of Sonia by Sonia Morgan, dresses and outfits under $250, and I missed the demographic. She said, what was the demographic?
I don't like I don't
Was it like
remember.
mature
Oh,
women?
it was 55. It, oh no, this was the quote she said at the beginning where she's like, "Oh, I'm 55, not playing to be 70 or something like that." Do you remember that? I don't remember exactly what she said, but yeah, I don't think it was about her demographic, but it was just her like talking about her line or something. I don't really remember. I don't quite get what demographic her clothes are for.
What did you make of Team Sonia?
Oh my God, I want to be on Team Sonia. I want to be a part. I want to be a fly on the wall. Like, did she just go to like a student production at Tish and just like stay after the show and hand select these people and like ask them to all work for free for her? I'm obsessed.
I mean, no one looked competent. I'm just gonna say.
No, the
Um,
flowers, like she's freaking out about the flowers. Like everything was
oh my
going
God,
awry.
those flowers at that event were like what you'd buy at the Ralph's counter in
Didn't she
LA.
say she got them at Home Depot or something?
Oh God, even worse. Oh Lord. And I had a live show. This is the closest I have to putting on an event. But I had a live show and I had all real flowers and all real floral arrangements. There's a way to do it right, I will say. And so Team Sonia definitely dropped the ball. Maybe she just picked them
Yeah,
up walking out of the subway. It was like, do you want to do something tonight?
possibly.
Um, So Ramona is still upset about the Hamptons. Apparently there was a stain that Tinsley left behind, and she covered it with the magazine. Ramona
Oh my
said she covered it
God.
with the magazine, and then we get the treat of seeing the moment of her covering it with the magazine.
With like the empty LaCroix cans on the dresser and
Oh,
like,
I mean, she
oh
really.
my
I mean,
God.
that's Tinsley was wrong for that. She was wrong for that.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed too.
But the image of her laying in that bed with the pasta thing open and her just like passed out, I think that might be my favorite image so far from the season.
That was just the timing of it, the ending, the episode on that shot, like it's brilliant, brilliant. This is why this show is good. This is why we
So
watch.
good.
So then there's this lunch going on, and Dorinda says that Ramona is turning into a vagina. I because she's eating what is she eating? The clams,
The oysters, I
oysters.
think.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, when she was describing how she eats the oysters and
I've
all
just
that.
never heard of anyone morphing into a vagina before.
I don't know. I do not know.
Is this Dorinda still trying to get some one-liners and gifs made? I think it's her trying to drum up some type of viral one-liner again. Which the best ones are the ones that happen off the cuff. I mean, don't try so hard.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
I don't know.
horrible.
Usually she like, especially in her confessionals, has the best ones. I mean, she's just so natural at it. The way the sayings just like roll off her tongue. It's just like so, oh, I love it. I love it. But yeah, the vagina ones, I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
It's I don't know if it's gonna catch on, but it's interesting.
Honestly, watch tomorrow. We're gonna open our Instagrams and it's gonna be all like oyster vaginas everywhere, and it would have caught on.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been right on that type of stuff, so who knows? Ramona, the stinger came out, the singer stinger, because she's told
yes.
Sonia, if you can't multitask, there must be something wrong with your business. It's not a big show or anything. And then Sonia fired back, yeah, you with your one bottle of cream. I love the old women fight. I don't want to call them old, but it's just great. This is great TV.
It's so good. I just love seeing Sonia wearing those glasses. And then when she went off to the side to answer her emails, and they're having their talk later on at lunch, you just see the camera pan to her, and she's leaned in with her glasses on the tip of her nose and her cell phone there, just looking so funny.
Sonia, I want to know who you're talking to, because it didn't look like anyone was actually working for you. So who's on the other end of those emails? Who are you talking to?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Leah arrives, and of course, Ramona's offended, but she said that her mother's not speaking to her because she's been drinking again. We go back to the wild teenager storyline, the picture of her with the septum in her nose, a big no-no. Could you imagine if the women saw that after the tattoo?
Oh, they would have not liked that at all.
Nope.
I do need to know where she got those sunglasses from, though. I'm obsessed with those sunglasses.
Oh, the square ones?
Those were so cool, the ones she was wearing.
Yeah. So Tinsley, she's trying to relate in this moment about mother-daughter tension.
Straight hair versus curly hair.
And, I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on with Dorinda. Getting a butter knife, trying to remove her brain through her ear. I mean, again, it was kind of rude. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Of course, we saw only an edit. Who knows for how long that comparison went on for. But, did you feel for Tinsley that she had feuded with her mother over the hair?
I just felt so bad, Grant, because you don't know how hard it is having curly hair to have to heat iron dry it and then get it straight and then just put the product in. It's just so life is so hard.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh my God, it's so good.
And now Leah, we learned finally a little bit more about the business, married to the mob. I like that she's her own boss. She's like, I have got fired from every other job, and so I just created my own. I'm like, you know what? There's nothing like working for yourself. And I can totally see that she probably is no walk in the park to try to manage.
Yeah.
So
no, definitely. I think it's good that she's in charge of her business. She'll run it the way she wants, and apparently she's very successful and good at it. So good for her.
Streetwear. Now, I don't wear streetwear. I suppose, what's that, Supreme and all that?
Yeah, I guess in Puma, Nike, that stuff.
But so she is in this male-dominated industry, and she's doing it on her own. And then this guy Rob comes in, who's her daughter's father, Kiki's dad, who looks like a construction worker from an SNL sketch. Did you see this?
Or he looks like one of the husbands from Jersey Housewives.
Very, yes.
He works for Joe Gorga or something.
He's there in boots, he just walked off of a construction site. He's got the arm tattoos, the real heavy accent, very laid back. Not who I thought she would be with, but I guess, hindsight, it makes sense.
Yeah. I love their relationship they have too, though. It's a very Dolores and Frank from Jersey, that platonic, married, but they don't sleep together, but they co-parent and they're best friends. It's interesting.
I mean, I guess I've had enough of it with Dolores to find it uninteresting. So I've known about it for a while. So I kind of don't need the dynamic again. But it's a modern relationship. This is, as long as it's real, I can get behind it. And she feels nothing but judgment from her mother. She's I noticed on camera she tried to cover it up because she looked at Rob and she said, "Rob, everything's good. Everything's good." And it was as if to be don't ask anything. We're on camera, but it was a very real moment. I know she said in the press that she had to address a situation with her parents, especially her mother, that she wanted to hide, and it became impossible. So this must be it.
Yeah, probably.
And how do you feel about Leah so far?
I love her. I think she is so grounded, down to earth. She gives me Major Bethany vibes in the weirdest way, because they're clearly not nobody will ever be Bethany. Nobody will ever be like any of these women because they cast the show so well with these women. but she's just so individualistic and she has I don't know, she just has such a sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she like fits in perfectly and holds her own with these women. And I think she's a very, very strong woman, strong personality. And I'm really enjoying her. What do you think of her?
I think she works really well in the show. I've really had nothing but positive things to say across the season. I'm intrigued. Like I said, I want to know more, and we're getting to know more. I applaud this episode for giving us that moment, and they could have easily just had a scene with her complaining about Sonia, and instead we actually learned something. So I like that.
15 minutes.
I want to get your thoughts on Dorinda complaining about John, that he's disappearing. She feels he's disrespectful and non-transparent. Well, we know how she feels about people that are not transparent, because she attacked Tinsley for it for months on end. So are we seeing the end of Dorinda and John?
I think this is probably, yeah. I think at this point is where it's starting, probably, by the looks of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the fact that he's out there doing things that she doesn't even know of, and she doesn't talk to him.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to care to he doesn't seem to really try to make an effort to connect with her on any level at this point. And I really feel for her watching it. I'm like, oh man, like Dorinda, you need someone who is gonna like love you and be there for you, and that you need to be equally as passionate about. It's like, I mean, you know me, I love Dorinda. I would like jump in front of a car for her. So I just want her to be happy.
Right. I mean, I feel like sometimes I've never been in a relationship, so I have no leg to stand out with this, but I feel like sometimes it's just better to be alone than to be in a relationship that just doesn't give you what you want.
Yeah.
Maybe
because then it's wasting everybody's time. Yeah.
Yeah. And like someone like Dorinda, she does not need a man in her life.
No.
Maybe someone like Ramona does. But like, I don't think that would dictate her happiness either way. I think it would be a good thing because, we've seen her really buckle into the stress. She's, clearly a woman who was used to being taken care of by her ex-husband or her, late husband. So, I mean, it would be nice, but I think she can stand on her own 2 feet. I don't know if she really needs a man.
Yeah. Yeah, she definitely could. I think we're going to see more of that as the season goes on, once the details of this all unfold.
I agree. I'm dying to see where it goes, because again, like I like her too. I want to see what happens, and she just doesn't seem to be very happy. So let's see what happens.
Right.
Can we talk about this fashion show? So it's time for Sonia's show, which I wrote down. It's low rent-ish, and I want it to be nice because I really like Sonia. She's out there doing it. At least she's doing it. We still haven't received the toaster oven, but at least the show is. There's an invitation. There are chairs set up. There might not be lights set up, but it's actually happening.
Yeah. Yes, it is happening. That is a good way to describe it. It's happening.
It's in existence. Barely, but there. Who's not there is Luann, who's in San Diego doing her show. Which, I mean, I'm so tired of hearing about the cabaret. I can't talk about it anymore. I just can't.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot.
So Leah and Tinsley, this is one of my favorite moments of the show. They arrive, or they're in the car, the back of the car. Very New York housewives, arriving in the black car, and Leah did not wear Sonia's collection to the event. Leah was insulted by the whole thing and feels that Sonia was being very passive aggressive towards her. I loved this moment because to me, I was getting major Bethany vibes when she put on those sunglasses and said, "Where's my crack pipe? Who the hell is actually going to wear this?" That to me was straight out of Bethany Frankel's playbook.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I loved that moment.
Oh, she's so good. Everything she was saying about it, from the bag being ripped that she got the things in to what the contents of the actual bag. I mean, it's all just so good,
and it's all believable. I mean, I really find it, to be within the realm of possibility that she received it in a ripped bag and with like a random like gangster hat, like I don't know. Or whatever that was, like it was just so random. It makes sense. Any other designer, I'd be like, hold on, come on, but no, this one I believe.
Yeah, it was just, it didn't even give you a sense of like what is in the collection.
No.
And even just looking at the two things there and then seeing the collection, which already you're like, what is the demographic? And like, what? I don't know. It was just very funny.
Of course, Ramona. And if I had friends like her, they would be kicked to the out in the street. They wouldn't even be allowed in. She said in her interview, oh, well, it's not like she has a line or anything. It's just merchandise that's already made. I mean, way to be a supportive friend, bitch.
Yeah, no filter on that one. And like, she believes what she says when she says stuff like that too. It's like, oh, girl, can you just be a supportive friend?
I think we all need to support Sonia with this. This is something, like we said,
Yes.
it's happening for however it looks. Let's just be glad that Sonia's doing this for herself. Let's just be supportive, please. But
Yeah.
Ramona, for someone who only 2 seasons ago was screaming that you don't support other women, here she is.
Oh my God.
Barely supporting.
So true.
She couldn't even wear the outfit. She couldn't even bring herself to wear support her friend's collection.
Oh, it's very her.
Leah walks in a Lil' Kim dress, and everybody knows I live for Lil' Kim. I love her.
I loved that dress. She looked beautiful.
I think very few people could pull that off, but Leah with her edge, it worked for her so much. It did look good on her.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was great for like a fashion week look. I mean, it's something, it's adventurous. It's non-traditional. It makes a statement. I liked it. I don't think Ramona knew what to say other than, I like your dress. Like, she didn't know what to make of that.
Yeah.
So I can't believe she didn't wear that dress. I'm still not over that Ramona didn't wear Sonia's dress. I'd be so pissed. The fashion show begins in the dark. It's an in the dark fashion show. So I guess
no music.
No music. I guess this is like an avant-garde take on Fashion Week. Is this like a new wave?
Maybe she was trying to channel her inner Garo Sparrow.
Maybe. I think in terms of playlists, obviously lighting is something that's very, very important to me, even in just interior design. So, I mean, to the fact that both of those were neglected, that just goes to show that Team Sonia is Team Idiot, because nobody thought of even hanging lights. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't even see the clothes.
Also, who was the bartender there? Like, did you see them ordering their drinks there? And they made the poor guy, like, remake their drinks.
That's a TaskRabbit order. That's what that is. It's like, can you show up for 90 minutes and just, like, pour some drinks, please?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Again, the fashion show, it's barely happening. There were so many options for Leah, as were pointed out, that they could have sent her. And they gave Sonia a shady edit because she's like, a lot of people were there. Century 21 was there, and it got cut off. And I'm like, we know there were other people on that list, but of course they're only going to tell us that Century 21, arguably a discount store, was there. I would like to know who else was there, in fairness to Sonia, but so far all we know is Century 21. For those who are not New Yorkers, please describe the place that Century 21 holds in the retail industry.
It's like, honestly, I want to say like a step up from, it's like maybe 2 steps up from Kmart.
Oh, like, what about like Ross Dress for Less? Where does that fall?
Oh, okay. I would say it's probably like 1 step up from Ross. No, 1 or 2 steps up from Ross or Marshalls, I would say.
Okay.
It's like an
I don't mind
elevated
Marshalls.
TJ Maxx.
I don't mind Marshalls and TJ Maxx. So, okay.
Honestly, I don't either, Sometimes you just got to go into Marshalls and get what you need, know?
Okay. So that's good. But still, I think it was a shady edit, and it was unfortunate because, like, we're talking about, like, big designers during Fashion Week, and then they just give us that moment of, like, maybe a mid-rate local business will pick it up. Maybe.
Yeah.
So Leah says this is not a fashion show. She really called Sonia out about that outfit, which I guess was like a cashmere loungewear situation.
It looked like sweatpants.
It wasn't very flattering, but Sonia put it right on. and flaunted it proudly. She made the most of it. God bless her.
When she took her dress off and then went in the back and was like, had that person helping take her dress off over her head as she put that on. Oh my God. So good.
And how about when she walked out and the women are screaming, terrible, thumbs down, it looks horrible on you. I would cry. That I know Sonia didn't like hand draw these designs, but like this is her night and she's being screamed at terrible.
But you know, she is having a good old time just like dancing around in it around them. That's what I love about her. Even Leah was like, well, I can't stay mad at her. I mean, look at her.
Oh my God.
Final thoughts.
My final thought is I wish I had Sonia's confidence. She was, just not shaken through all of this. She was more concerned about putting the sheets of computer paper on the chairs than the fact that no one could see the designs. I mean, she's there getting changed in a random kitchen, coming out, in sweatpants, basically. I wish I had her confidence.
Yeah, no, she's amazing.
What are your final thoughts on all of this?
Sonia's got a heart of gold. And that comes through every episode. I mean, even when Leah was like coming for her last week, I didn't even think there was any malice in what Leah was saying. And I'm glad that Sonia didn't really take it that way either. Like when she was talking about, the Morgan yacht has sailed, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's all like in good fun and these ladies can all take it. And I think that's why part of why this show is so successful, because they say such intense things to each other and then they just move on. It's not like, I don't know, like a Beverly Hills moment that is dragged on an entire season where you're like, why are you talking about this small thing?
We would never get past the tattoo moment in the second episode on that show.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm loving the show because they keep it moving. Thank God. Now we have we have just enough time, which I'm glad about. I want you to be able to tell the listeners where they can get even more Real Housewives of New York goodness from the one and only Elizabeth Cakes.
Yes, Miss Cakes. Well, so what Miss Cakes has been doing is, for those who don't know, Elizabeth Cakes is my drag alter ego who is a Real Housewife of New York wannabe. And she released her debut music video, Prosecco Through a Straw, which we talked about the last time I was on the podcast. But her latest project is she is following the current season of The Real Housewives of New York City and releasing a brand new original song and music video every single week based on one iconic quote or moment from the previous episode. So that is what is going on now. So I just actually released the latest one about an hour ago, I think. I don't even know what time it is. But yeah, I released it at 9:30 in the middle of Housewives of each episode. So it starts at 9 here in New York. And then at 9:30, I release the new music video on my Instagram and YouTube and Facebook page, all at Seriously Chris.
It's so smart. I mean, I love the release strategy because, I love a good strategy, but not only that, the content too. For those of you, again, he mentioned it really quick, but I would love for you to listen to Prosecco Through a Straw so you can really be introduced to this character of Elizabeth Cakes. But more than anything, I just want to compliment you on the last music video you put out last week, Good Night from the Lower Level. So well done. It was like this ballad. I loved it. It was my favorite one yet.
Thanks, Grant. Thank you. I figured I'd switch it up and have a ballad.
I liked it. I approve. I like the drama behind it. Please tell people again where they can just check this out, because if you're listening to this, you're clearly a super fan. So check out what Chris is doing.
Yes, I post them all on my Instagram at Seriously Chris, one word. And they're on my YouTube channel at Seriously Chris. And I have a Facebook page that I just started at Seriously Chris. And yeah, it's all just Seriously Chris across the board, or seriouslychris.com, where you can check out other stuff too.
Love it. Thank you, Chris, for ranting about the New York ladies. And we'll have to have you back coming up.
Yes, thanks so much, Grant.
This has been Grant's Rant Small Talk, Real Housewives of New York City Rundown. Want more? Join the full conversation on Grant's Rant Hollywood Talk podcast.